If you've ever cleared a garden bed and wondered what to do with old logs, stumps, or half-rotted branches, this one's for you. Instead of hauling that wood away or burning it, you can bury it and turn it into a long-term soil engine. This technique isn't new, trendy, or experimental. It's an old, proven method that quietly builds healthier soil year after year. Here on Soil Factor, we focus on understanding soil as a living system, not just dirt that holds plants upright. Burying rotting wood taps directly into that idea. When done correctly, it improves water retention, feeds soil life, stabilizes nutrients, and boosts crop resilience, especially in dry or depleted soils. Let's dig into how it works, why it works, and how you can use it confidently in your own garden. When wood is buried underground, it slowly decomposes and becomes part of the soil ecosystem. Unlike compost, which breaks down quickly, buried wood decomposes over many years. During that time, it acts like a sponge, soaking up rainwater and slowly releasing it back to plant roots. As fungi and bacteria break down the wood, they form long-lasting organic compounds that improve soil structure. Heavy soils become looser and better aerated, while sandy soils gain the ability to hold moisture and nutrients. This is soil improvement that doesn't wash away in one season. It compounds over time. What's often overlooked is the biological side. Rotting wood is a fungal food source, and fungi are critical for nutrient cycling, root communication, and long-term fertility. When you bury wood, you're not just feeding plants, you're feeding the entire underground network that keeps plants healthy. Wood is mostly carbon. Soil microbes need both carbon and nitrogen to survive. When microbes start breaking down buried wood, they temporarily pull nitrogen from the surrounding soil. This process is called nitrogen immobilization, and it's where many gardeners get into trouble if they don't plan ahead. The key is balance. When carbon and nitrogen are properly managed, the result is slow-release fertility rather than nutrient theft. Over time, as the wood breaks down further, the nitrogen is released back into the soil in a more stable, plant-available form. This is why burying wood is a long-term soil investment, not a quick fix. It rewards patience with soil that becomes richer, more resilient, and easier to work every season. Not all wood behaves the same underground. Softwoods like pine, poplar, and acacia break down faster and are ideal if you want benefits within a few seasons. Hardwoods like oak or eucalyptus decompose more slowly, making them better for deep, permanent beds where you want long-term structure and moisture retention. Alright, so, you want to avoid treated, painted, or chemically preserved wood entirely. Those chemicals just don't belong in your soil or food system, plain and simple. Now, fresh green wood can be used, but honestly, partially rotted wood is ideal because microbial activity has already started, which helps reduce nitrogen stress in the early stages. If the wood is dry, soaking it before burial really helps jumpstart decomposition and also keeps it from pulling moisture out of the surrounding soil after planting. It's a simple step, but it can make a big difference. Depth matters more than most people realize. Shallow burial can actually interfere with planting and increase nitrogen competition near young roots. But, deep burial creates a stable underground reservoir, which is what you want for long-term success. For garden beds, burying wood about 30 to 60 centimeters deep works really well. This puts it below the main root zone when your plants are just starting out, but still within reach as they mature. In raised beds, the wood usually makes up the bottom layer, with soil and compost built up right above it. Deeper burial also helps cut down the risk of attracting pests or causing that annoying uneven settling you sometimes see at the soil surface. When you're burying wood, it's important to always pair it with nitrogen-rich materials. Well-finished compost, animal manure, green plant residues, or legume cover crops really help offset the nitrogen demand. The soil above your buried wood should be nice and fertile, not bare or depleted. In the first growing season, you'll find that crops with moderate to low nitrogen demands really perform best. Root crops, leafy greens with a bit of compost support, legumes, and hardy vegetables all tend to adapt well. Now, heavy feeders like maize or cabbage, they might need a little extra compost or some organic nitrogen sources early on. By the second or third season, the nitrogen balance usually stabilizes and, honestly, the soil often becomes even more productive than it was before. Plants with deep or adaptable root systems, well, they benefit the most. Perennial vegetables, fruit trees, berry bushes, and climbing crops really love that steady moisture and the improved soil structure. Even annual vegetables, they start performing well once the system is established. In dry climates or areas with irregular rainfall, buried wood can dramatically reduce water stress. The soil stays cooler, holds moisture longer, and resists compaction, all critical factors for consistent yields. This is why, similar techniques have been used in forest gardening, permaculture, and traditional farming systems across different continents. One of the biggest mistakes is planting immediately into soil with buried wood and no nutrient buffering. Another is using too much wood without enough soil above it, leading to settling and uneven beds. Some gardeners expect instant results and, well, they abandon the method too early. But this technique, it really rewards patience. It's important to think in seasons, not weeks. Finally, burying wood in poorly drained areas without proper planning can actually create anaerobic conditions. If your soil holds water excessively, you'll want to improve drainage or raise the bed before adding wood. At Soil Factor, we talk a lot about working with natural processes instead of, fighting them. Burying rotting wood, it really mimics how forests build soil naturally. Fallen trees don't get removed. They become part of the system, feeding life above and below ground. This method reduces waste, improves resilience, and builds soil capital that keeps paying off. It's not flashy, but it's powerful, and once you've used it successfully, you'll never look at old logs the same way again. As seasons pass, the soil becomes darker, softer, and easier to work. Crops handle dry spells better, roots grow deeper and stronger. Fertility becomes more stable instead of swinging wildly between deficiency and excess. Perhaps the biggest benefit is consistency. Instead of constantly correcting problems, you'll find your soil slowly correcting itself. That's the real magic of burying rotting wood. It shifts your garden from maintenance mode to momentum mode. Burying rotting wood isn't about shortcuts. It's about thinking like soil, not just feeding plants. When you invest in what's happening underground, everything above ground responds. If you've got access to old logs, branches, or stumps, you're sitting on a powerful soil-building resource. Use it wisely, give it time, and let biology do the heavy lifting. If this deep dive helped you see soil differently, make sure to subscribe to Soil Factor, share this with a fellow gardener, and keep the conversation growing. Healthy soil is the foundation of everything we grow, and together, we can build it better, one bed at a time.